guys, LongHaul Larry, and we're out here at the ADL shop, and I'm going to be working on 796. This is a Kenworth t680, and the problem with this truck is that it is getting coolant into the fuel system. It has a coolant leak, but there's no leaks anywhere. There's no hoses leaking, and I did an oil change on this thing and everything, and I changed the fuel filter and found a bunch of coolant in there. So what's happening is there is copper sleeves that are underneath this valve cover that the injectors sit into, and they develop a leak. Now on some trucks, you know, what you can do is you get they call them coppers. They're copper sleeves, and you can get a puller that you kind of thread down into them. You pull the injectors out, you thread down this puller, you thread it into there, and then you pull the sleeves right out of the head. And then you just press the new ones in, and you do that. Well, on these here Cummins engines, you can't do that. You can't pull them out without removing the head. That's the only way you can change them. There's these little cones that you can actually press into here, and it's a try and fix thing. You might be able to get the leak to stop by doing this, but you need a special tool for doing it. And it's kind of a one-time shot. You can give it a try. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you got to pull the head off anyways. So we're going to give this a shot today, and the first step is going to be we got to get this valve cover off. To do this, we have to remove the air into the air cleaner box. So we'll be removing all this. The EGR crossover tube here we got to remove, and disconnect the oil breather tube, and then all the bolts on the valve cover. Do that, and then we got to pull all the injectors, and then we can start putting the cones in and stuff. So we're going to get started on doing that. Well, to get this air cleaner off, there's 4 bolts. There's 2 on this side. This is a 13mm socket. There's 2 bolts. There's a couple on the other side. So this one here, it's kind of at a goofy angle, and they're way back in there. And I found that using a longer extension with a swivel on it is about the only way. This one here, this top one I can get to, but not the other ones. So down here. There's 2 way back in here. There we go. And then we have the clamps right here that go on the tube. So I'm just going to actually just pull it right off the turbo. And then this whole air cleaner box comes right off. A gasket that is in there, and the EGR crossover comes off. And then we have the breather tube that is on the front of the valve cover here, just a hose clamp, so 5/16 will work on that. And just wiggle that. Pull that off. And then there's just a series of 10mm bolts all around this. go. And there is the top end of your motor. And your injectors are these wires that run through here go to your injectors. And so all these wires are going to have to be pulled off. And we'll pull all the wiring and just kind of lay the wiring back and everything. And that way we can get to it. And we'll start working on all these. So to get this wiring harness out of here, you just go along and there's little tabs that hold down this wiring harness. It's in a plastic sleeve that runs all the way along. And there's these little metal clips. You just stick a flat screwdriver down in it. And you just kind of wiggle it. And it'll just pop up out of there. Hopefully easier than what I'm having at this moment. There we go. Here we go. You just make your way down through here. Alright. So we got our wire harness all loose and everything. Now we just need to remove the wires here. These top wires are a T25, I believe it is. Yep. And the nice thing about the wires for the injectors and everything is the nuts actually are connected onto the wire so they don't drop, because it's like, first time you do it, you're like trying to be so careful so you don't drop one down into the engine. That'd not be good. But I still am careful about it. When I pull them apart, I always tug on them to make sure. And then next, I need to remove the fuel lines off the fuel rail. That there's fuel lines that come off the fuel rail, which is underneath here. It's on the side of the engine, and they go into the, I can't remember what it's called, but there's like a tube that goes into the injector through the block down through the head. You can see these things here. It's like raised parts. They go through there, and that's what provides your fuel to the injector. You have to pull those out to get the injectors out. And those are over on the side of the engine over here. And you can kind of use a special socket like this. They're 7/8 or 22 millimeter. So this is the keeper for the injector, for the line that goes into the block. And you just pull that off, that's at 28. And then you still really can't get them out real good and everything, so what I always usually do is put the line back on. And you just thread it back onto there. And sometimes you gotta use a pry bar, but most of the time if you thread this on, there you go. And you pull that off, and there you go. There's your nozzle. Then once you get those lines out, you're ready to actually pull the injector. So all you do is just take a pry bar, put it up on there, and you just put it underneath there, and you just pop up on the injector. Injector will pull right back up, right out. And there's an injector. Now the big thing with this is, when you put this back in, there is teeth on the bottom here. And you want to make sure that when you put that back in there, those teeth line up on there. That they line up on the injector. That's going to get it in the correct orientation. And then before you put these injectors back in, there's fuel and oil that just went down into that cylinder when I pulled this out. And so what you want to make sure to do is put an air gun and blow down inside there to blow all that back up out of there as much as you possibly can. Otherwise you could hydrolock the engine. So we're going to pull the injector out of the other one too. I'm going to go put this one on my bench. So I'm just looking down in there. See if I can see coolant down in there. Yeah, it does look like there's been coolant leaking. Yeah. I'll give you guys a closer look on it. I'm going to get the tool and get all set up to start pressing these in. Alright, we're ready to insert. This is the ring retainer that we're installing that will stop the leaking. And this is Cummins part number 4312298. So basically that's what it looks like right there. It's kind of like a ring. Hey, it actually fits. Oh, we just dropped this on down in there. I'm trying to get it so it goes straight. It was close. And I'm going to have to put my head in front of the camera, I think, you see down in there. You just use a screwdriver and just kind of get it. Get it sitting in there level. Best you can. The tool is gonna center it and stuff, but you just don't want to have it turned a little bit so the tool doesn't smash it. Alright, we're ready to install. So now this is the tool that installs this. And this is Cummins part number 5394735. And so basically what you do, it's just like you put the injector in. You want to have this turned up quite a ways, not all the way though. And then you want to have this little pad over here turned up too. You want this to go down in there as straight as possible. And you need it to sit flat on the head there. Okay? And then it comes with a special bolt here. It's a preset. It's got to be a certain length and everything. Comes with the tool. And just thread her on down in there. And what I usually do is I get it down in there and just get it to where it's pretty close to be tight. It can still move around a little bit. And then what I do is I just start turning this tool down in, and you'll feel it slip into that ring. And that centers it there. And then we got to torque down this main bolt, this hold down bolt. And this is 59 foot-pounds of torque. Go. And then back over here there's this little screw. This goes on that pad, and you just tighten this down finger tight. There you go. Got that tight. Where'd I put my socket? Socket. There it is. And then this is a 16 millimeter, and you just put it on top of the tool and you just tighten this down. And that big nut that's on top of there, it has a retaining pin put through there, and it's preset that now it's a stopper. So we just run her down in, and it's like a press. It's pressing that ring down inside this sleeve right to where coolant will leak. And you just run her down until she stops. And you back the tool off. There you go. You back off the thumb screw over here. Here we go. And then we'll break loose our hold down bolt. That is my phone beeping. Somebody text me back about some land in the UP. My boss is even into it. He's been looking at land up there and he's been sending me links and stuff. And I said, "Oh, that's so nice. You're thinking about buying me a Christmas present, are you?" He didn't answer back. All right. So now we got our sleeve pressed down in there. We'll take a peek at it, make sure, yep, sitting right down in where it's supposed to be. Now we take a mic here, and we need it to be at least 69 millimeters. So you just slide the mic out, and it comes with this here deal. And we're going to slide it out to about 70 something. There's 74. And we're going to stick this down there and put the tip of this on the retaining ring that we just pressed in there, and put this end up here on the top of the head, and it needs to be at least 69 millimeters. Okay, let me try it again. I was just shy of 69. I slipped in my fingers. You know, you're talking 100,000ths. There we go. Let's see what we got. Okay. We are just shy of it. So it's 68.82. So I'm going to put it back in, the tool back in there, and give her just another little crank. Alright. Whoa. My camera. Yeah, sorry about that. My camera started to fall. I bumped it, and when I moved it back up, I hit the off button. So, come on now. The camera is kind of teetering there. I'm trying to get a very good close-up of this. Alright, so let's see if that did it. Definitely going to need a new washer for that bolt before we do another one of these. There is another truck that I guess has a coolant leak or something, but can't find a coolant leak, and the hoses or nothing, so thinking maybe it's this too. Alright, zero it out. Let's try it again. Okay. There we go. We got her. 69.19. That's all you need. You just need it to be over 69. Alright. So I gotta go grab my injector. I gotta put the O-rings on that and drop my injector in. Alright, we got our O-rings on. And now this injector hold down, it has these two little deals here. You gotta make sure that those are sitting in that injector right there. And then you want to start to drop the injector down in. And you need to be careful about this. You want to drop this. damaged a tip. So let's spin it. There we go. There we go. Now we put our hold down bolt back in there. And you can see it pulling down on the injector right now. It's seating the injector. Okay, just got her touching, and then we got to torque this hold on to it to 59 foot-pounds. Alrighty, that injector is back in there. There we go, we got her all back together. Let's fire it up. Fire it up. Buttercup. We got low voltage. Go. We got new sleeves in inside the injector cups, and that should help with the leaking issue of it. Hopefully that's going to solve the problem. We really won't know for a while. Keep an eye on it. Hopefully it's not going to be using antifreeze. And then we changed filters and stuff to fuel filters down here. There's going to be coolant in it for a while. It's all in the fuel tanks and everything else. So it's going to be in there for probably a couple filter changes, so probably to be like 2 or 3 filter changes until we finally get that coolant and see if the filters are staying clean. But I mean, it worked on mine. It's a pretty simple task. I would say it's probably about a 2-hour job or so. About 2 or 3 hour job. Most of the problem is taking everything apart. The actual doing of it, it's really not that big of a deal. The big problem is number 1, injector. It's behind this here breather box, and you got to pull this all off, and there's a bracket you got to pull out. It's a pain in the butt to get to it. That's the hardest one, is this fuel line back here, is getting that off. Otherwise than that, it's a pretty decent job. Gosh, my thumb's so bad on this thing, but got her all super glued together. But we're gonna keep on moving down the list on this one, so I'm gonna let you go on this. And I hope everyone out there is having themselves a great day, great night as they're watching this here video. And if you're not, well, I'm certainly going to try that all over again tomorrow. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.